Returning to acting after a hiatus can feel like standing at the base of a mountain wondering where to start the climb. Now, whether you took a break to focus on family, another career, or you simply needed time for yourself, re entering the profession can seem daunting. The good news is that you are not starting from scratch. You're building on your previous experience. On today's episode, I'm going to give you a step by step guide to help make your re entry manageable and, dare I say, even exciting. This is Casting Actors Cast.
Casting Actors Cast, what a show! With Jeffrey Dreisbach, we're ready to go. From agents to gigs, learn what you lack. Tune in every week, we're bringing you back.
We're going to kick off the show right after this. Well, hello, and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. I'm a casting partner with McCorkle Casting in New York. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. I'm really looking forward to this information today about re-entering the career if you've been away for a while. I think you're going to find these 8 steps extremely helpful as you contemplate jumping back into the profession. But first, this is that moment of the podcast where I get to say thank you so much for tuning in to Casting Actors Cast. I am so grateful to all of you who have written to me, who've left a review or a thumbs up or shared it with another. It means so much to me. After all, I don't ask for anything in the podcast. These are all free. You can just it costs you your time, I guess. But I believe that this is providing information that is really helpful, and I don't think today is going to be any different. At least my ego is telling me that it's not. So thank you for tuning into Casting Actors Cast. I invite you to check out the website, castingactorscast, all one word.com. You're going to find all kind of information on the website. You're going to find that my new book, Jeff's Jots, is available right now. It's Jeff's Jots, the Actor's Career Playbook on Amazon, but there's a link on the website. I invite you to check that out. I think you're going to find that really helpful. Also, there's a little form on that landing page that says dive into the talent pool. And if you do that, that's going to just open up a whole bunch of stuff for you as a free video, casting secrets, what they don't tell you, but it's also hosting a book called Conversation Pieces Out of the Studio, the voiceover workshop for professional actors. Also, there is a blog and a corresponding show notes downloadable for you that corresponds to each of these episodes. So as I give you a lot of this information today, you might want to have kind of a sheet to use as a reference point or something to go back to, because today is going to feel a little bit like a checklist, I think. All right. So once again, thank you so much for being here. Let's jump into the subject, shall we? So I have these 8 steps, these 8 kind of in this order. I would ask that you think about these 8 steps, just working on them in a slow, steady, methodical pace, I believe is something that's going to really help you feel comfortable and confident about jumping back into the profession. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, reflect on your why. Why? So before diving back in, I think it's a really good idea to take some time to reconnect with why you want to act again. What drew you to acting in the first place? What was that singular event in your life that made you say, I want to do more of this? The reason why that's really helpful, I think, is because it gets those juices going again. It gets the emotional attraction to what it is to being a performer back in the forefront of your brain. And that's why I think it's really helpful. Now, it could have been the thrill of performing, or it could have been just the fact that you're a storyteller, or that connection with other actors, connection with people in the industry. That's a big motivator as well. So connect with your why. Then it's important to think about what's motivating your return now. Why are you coming back in? Why is this something that you're interested, excited, want to do? It could be whether it's reigniting a passion, for example, or it could be just exploring untapped potential. You see, I think understanding your why will ground you and fuel your journey forward. I think it's valuable to think of it as a you're creating your North Star. It will guide your decisions and help you stay focused when things feel a little bit overwhelming. So start with your why. Step number two, I think in order, this is most helpful, start with self assessment. Self assessment. So, after time away, it's kind of natural to wonder if your skills are still sharp or if kind of you feel like you've fallen behind a little bit. But let me tell you something this is a secret. No one expects perfection on day one. I promise you. It's not expected that you have to jump right in with both feet and feel fully accomplished. That just doesn't make sense. So don't put yourself through that struggle. Here's what you can do. Revisit old work. Watch your past performances or review your portfolio to see how far you've come and where you might want to grow. Did you like how my voice went up really high there? But how you want your future to go as it relates to participating in the business. I think there's value in identifying strengths and areas to refresh. Here's an example. Maybe your improv skills are really, really good and you feel confident about that, but you might need to brush up on camera techniques or monologue work. A little self awareness, I think, can go a long way. All right, moving on from there. Step number three, update your tools. Now, you probably knew this was coming, but your headshot and resume are your calling cards in the industry. So, honestly, it's valuable to make sure they reflect who you are today. Please do not be concerned about that space between gigs, then versus now. Who you are today is how you're going to be cast. So don't kind of live in that past angst. And that's as we talk about the tools, for example, headshots. Invest in professional headshots that showcase the role you're targeting now. So, as you're watching film or watching television or you're watching theater, where do you see yourself now? You see, your look may and probably likely has evolved, right? So, it's important that casting directors see the current you. Next is your resume. Update your credits and remove anything outdated or unrelated. What I mean by unrelated, by the way, are roles that you probably aren't going to be playing now. Now, I know that's a tough one for a lot of you. If you've been away for a long period of time and you were an ingenue and now you're a character actor, that can be pretty challenging. So I'm not asking you to kind of charge ahead and just remove everything that you wouldn't be cast in. But I would love for you to frame it and look at it in such a way that makes sense to a casting director looking at it now. It could be an amazing director that you worked with. That's great. It could be a cool theater that you've worked with. It could be a network gig, you know, a network television show that you were in at that time. All of those things are giving me information about your level and where you are at in your career. So I don't want you to throw all of it out, but really use a discerning eye. Oh, that's a good way to say it. So that if there's a gap, for example, I don't want you to stress. I think there's more value to focus on the skills and experience that you bring to the table today. And I've always mentioned to actors that they really should spend some time binging some shows. Film and television is where you want to be at. Find those shows that you say to yourself, gosh, I could play that role. That's really helpful because then you can do a little research. You can look up who the casting director is, and you can see the kind of writing that's taking place today, because it's different than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So there's value in looking at what's coming over the air now, so to speak, and where you see yourself in that place. Okay, another tool is a demo reel. Now, listen, if you don't have recent footage, chill out. It's okay. Consider you could certainly film new material. Now, even self tapes, really well produced self tapes, but you don't want to call it a demo reel or a show reel. You want to say, here are some recent auditions as a self tape. That could go on your website, for example. Or if an agent might be interested in working with you and they say, do you have any tape? You would just simply say, I have an example of my self tapes that would probably help you to see how I look on camera. You see what I'm saying? Because the skill set of having a good self tape goes a long way with agents today. And so if you've got a really well-produced self-tape, that's going to help that agent make the decision to want to work with you, because they don't have to teach you. You already know. Good. All right. Just simply remember that you're presenting yourself as you are now, authentic and ready to work. Moving on from there. Number 4, this is reconnect with training. You see, I think acting is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you use it. So if you've been out of practice, it's just a matter of jumping back into training to rebuild your confidence and refine your craft. How do you do that? Well, you take a class. You look for workshops or ongoing classes in areas like scene study, on-camera technique, or even voice work. Not only will you sharpen your skills, but you'll also meet other actors and start rebuilding your network. Network, network, network. I think there's value also to work on your own. Read plays. Work on your monologues. You should have 2 or 3 monologues in your back pocket anyway. Why not look for some new monologues, some fresh material, or put that monologue on a self-tape? When you do self-tapes for yourself, you're really honing several skills at once. One is you're getting your confidence boost. The 2 is that you're seeing and correcting and working on how you are being seen. And that is nothing but invaluable for your own confidence level, like I said, but also the future relationships that you might have with representatives like agents and managers. So consistent practice, I think, will help you regain your rhythm. And I also think might want to consider exploring something new. Try a class outside your usual wheelhouse, for example. Improv is really useful. Maybe a movement class or even a voiceover class. It's a great way to expand your range and, I don't know, rediscover the fun of acting. This should not be thought of as a burden. This should be an exciting time for you. And keep that perspective as you start ticking off some of these items I'm sharing with you today. Next item, we're going to talk about rebuild your network. And we're going to cover that right after this.
Are you wishing for acting success? Are you ready with audition techniques for theater, film, and television? Are you ready with proven methods for growing your talent? Are you ready to boost your business? It would help if you had a playbook to guide you. Now, there's Jeff's Jots, the Actor's Career Playbook by Jeffrey Dreisbach. Jeff's Jots at Amazon.com, CastingActorsCast.com, available in paperback, hardcover, or ebook. Stop wishing and start doing with Jeff's Jots, the Actor's Career Playbook.
Welcome back. So this is number 5, rebuild your network. Your network is a key part, I think, for re-entering the industry. Reaching out can feel very, very intimidating. I know that. But most people are more supportive than you might expect. So it's a matter of reconnecting with old contacts. Perhaps you already have a LinkedIn page. Maybe you have some socials that you're already doing or performing. That might be the time to announce your return. I would suggest reaching out to former teachers. Maybe there are some agents you've worked with in the past. Maybe some casting directors or even fellow actors. Let them know that you are back and you're eager to work. A quick email or coffee meeting can really open a lot of doors. In addition to that, I suggest that you join the community more, feel more connected to the community by attending industry events like workshops or networking nights. Being present in the acting community will absolutely help you feel plugged back in. And that's not only good for you, but that's good for people in the industry. And now I mentioned social media platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn. They're all really powerful tools for sharing your journey. I think it's a good idea to post updates about your return, your training, or maybe something new to help announce you coming back into the profession, or whatever projects you get or might be working on to stay visible. You see, in my view, networking is about relationships, not just opportunities. So, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And relationships that are worth anything take time. So please don't just think of a casting director as a potential opportunity for a job. Don't think of an agent as a potential opportunity for an audition. Those things are not as helpful to you as thinking in terms of what the relationship means to you. So I think if you approach it with authenticity and patience, of course, makes a lot of sense. Now we're going to move to item number 6. Start small and build momentum. If jumping straight back into auditions feels a little overwhelming, I suggest you ease in, take some smaller steps. Background work or indie projects, those smaller projects that might be out there and available in your area. Now, these can help you absolutely rebuild confidence and refamiliarize yourself with being on a set and, that industry vibe that might be happening now that maybe wasn't there when you were in it last. The other, self-tapes. Practice auditioning at home. Treat your material that you're auditioning with as if it's an actual audition. That'll help shake off the rust and help you get comfortable in front of the camera again. That's extremely important. Now, if you've not done any self-tapes, now's the time to perhaps take a class. It's been my experience that a lot of actors, because I see a lot of self-tapes, a lot of actors think they know what they're doing. And I hate to break it to those of you who are doing self-tapes. If you haven't had some kind of more formal instruction, there might be some elements to your self-tape that are kind of not helping you in your audition. So if you're re-entering the profession, now is a good time to take a class in self-tape. Study what others are doing. There's all kinds of stuff and references online. I've certainly done several podcasts on self-tape, so you might want to consider going back into the archives. But anyway, back to those opportunities now as you start easing yourself into the profession. I think student films or even community theater is a really good idea because these opportunities can help you build new credits, and it can actually create fresh material that you'll be working on, even for your reel. Think of it this way. Every step counts, whether it's a big step or a small step. Don't underestimate the power of gradual progress. Okay, just a couple more. Number 7, adjust your expectations, please. Now, it's absolutely easy to compare your current situation to where you left off or where others are in their careers. But please remember, everyone's journey is unique, so give yourself grace. If auditions don't go perfectly at first, you know what? That's okay. I really mean it. Growth comes with time and persistence. I can also tell you, in my experience, casting in general is very forgiving and grateful for those actors that have been away and now are coming back, because there is here's a good word, a plethora. Come on, that's a good word, of material that is going to be on the air in the next few years. All of the streaming services, they are putting a lot of money into new product. So this is an excellent time for that. Focus on the process, not the outcome, right? It's the journey, not the destination. I think it's really helpful for you if you enjoy the creative work and trust that opportunities are going to come as you stay, here's the word, consistent. Finally, number 8, stay positive and resilient. Re-entering acting can be emotionally taxing, but please don't be a victim to that emotion. Maintaining a positive mindset will definitely make the process feel more manageable. How does it feel manageable? Well, simply celebrate small wins. You got an audition? Great. You worked on a monologue and you nailed it? Great. I think it's valuable for you to acknowledge every step forward. Find support. Surround yourself with people who understand your journey. Actor support groups, friends, or even a coach can help keep you motivated. Also, keep perspective. Remember that taking a break wasn't a setback. It was part of your path. You're returning with a fresh life experience which can enrich your work as an artist. I also think if you set clear goals and you have a roadmap, it's going to make your return feel intentional and absolutely less overwhelming. Short-term goals, examples include booking your first audition back, updating your materials, or completing a class. And then there are those long-term goals. Think about the type of roles, projects, or career milestones you would like to pursue. Break them into actionable steps. That's going to serve you. Goals give you direction and a sense of achievement as you check them off. I think it's also important as we close today is to embrace the journey. Most importantly, remember why you fell in love with acting. This isn't just about booking jobs or building a resume. It's about storytelling. It's about creativity. It's about connection. Enjoy the process. Acting is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. Trust your instincts. You've returned for a reason. Trust that you belong here and have something valuable to offer. So here's my final thought. Returning to acting isn't about catching up or proving yourself. Honestly, it's about stepping back into the world of creativity on your own terms. By taking deliberate, manageable steps, you can make your re-entry into the profession feel exciting rather than overwhelming. Listen, you've already shown courage by deciding to come back and to finish this podcast, right? So if you've been listening, I suggest that now it's time to let that passion shine. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. Break a leg. This is Casting Actors Cast.
It's been great having you in our talent pool today. Your support means the world to us, so please consider sharing, liking, and reviewing this episode wherever you jump in. I'm Megan Grace Martinez. Thanks.
From monologues to screen tests to